Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So what is happening today? Bitcoin and crypto both look kind of weak. Okay. In fact, you could argue they both dumped on a weak ETF launch. So what is happening exactly? Should we be concerned? Is this something new that we haven't seen before? Is Bitcoin and crypto under attack? Let's talk about all these things and more today. Let's do it. Welcome, guys. We're starting out the day not looking too good versus yesterday. We're at 61,100. Now, last night, we did have something go on, right? Something new. What was that? Well, last night, which is morning, and now it's night for them, we had Asia's very first spot Bitcoin and Ether ETFs debut in Hong Kong. Now, it's very hyped up, and there were rumors and speculation that, hey, volume on the first day was going to exceed even the first day on Wall Street. Did that happen? No. Unfortunately, when it debuted, Bitcoin was all the way up here, right around 64.8, and then shortly it started doing this. It almost seems like Asia has their own grayscale. But overall, it was a lackluster opening, okay? They only had about 12 million in trading volume. That is tiny. To compare the very first day of Bitcoin spot ETFs in Wall Street, we're talking about 4.6 billion versus 12 million. Okay, this is trading volume. And we had, what, 6 ETFs and not too much inflows into any of them. So, kind of like a nothing burger kind of event, all right? But here's the thing. I'll counter this because a lot of people are very negative about this whole thing and saying, well, Hong Kong doesn't mean anything. This is just garbage and whatever, right? Here's the thing. Okay, right now, obviously, they're opening during a month that Bitcoin is weak, and we have downward pressure, right? So obviously, not a whole lot of smart institutions want to jump in right now. But when Bitcoin flips around, and you know it will, and you know the FOMO starts hitting, that volume is going to pick up. This is just going to become a multiplier, amplifier to the buying that will be happening in the future, right? We know it's the same thing in the US. Right now, the ETFs, they're not having massive inflows either. In fact, we're still seeing outflows mostly because of grayscale, right? But even BlackRock stopped buying. So it's actually not a surprise. But because of all speculation, I was hoping for more. To be honest, I was hoping for a lot more. But we didn't get it. But that doesn't mean that this isn't going to help Bitcoin and crypto, especially Ethereum in the future, right? Ethereum ETFs, we're still trying to get that in the US. I don't think we'll get that this year. But we already had the very first ones in Hong Kong. And we'll see. When the market turns around, both will be absolutely fantastic, okay? Institutions will FOMO into both, and they will attribute to FOMO. Just unfortunately not right now. Not right now. Okay. Now, outside of this, what's going on? Okay. If they're not selling and they're not buying, why are we seeing more down pressure? I think I know. And what is that? Well, first of all, if you look at the U.S. market today, not looking so good, right? And the reason why is because we have a FOMC meeting coming up. In fact, tomorrow. Today, the Board of Governors and Fed Chair Powell are all talking. Today is kind of like the talk day. And tomorrow is when we hear their decision, mostly Powell's decision. He'll come out the press conference, and then the reporters will grill him on next steps. But before that, he will release a press release basically stating what he's feeling, right? We haven't had a heated FOMC meeting for a very long time. And when I say heated, I mean by the fact that, the past 6 of them, I would say, have been nothing burgers, and people kind of knew what was going to be said. I would say the only one that was a surprise, maybe 2 FOMC meetings ago, or maybe the last one, was when he announced that there was going to be 3 rate cuts coming up. I think that I'll give him that. That was a surprise, but it was a good surprise. Markets started soaring, right? But now we got all this bad data about inflation going back up and the economy going back down. What is he going to do? Is he going to change his tune and still and say, oh, well, we're not going to have 3 anymore. We're going to have 2 or 1, or maybe we're not going to have any this year. If he comes out and hints that there's no more rate cuts this year, that would be absolutely horrendous. That would be horrendous. But he can just say nothing again and just say, well, it's a wait and see moment. It's too early for us to make a decision at this time. We have to wait until June. And then maybe we could think about cutting. Something like that would be absolutely fine. That'd be normal. But I think people are very worried about what he may say. That Powell may screw up the recovery and screw up this, the rest of this year, really. So I think this is the biggest problem right now. And I've said this since last week. Ever since we got those bad data about GDP and inflation, it has put markets in a turmoil, and people don't know what to do, especially Wall Street people. I shouldn't say people in general, because Bitcoiners know what to do. But Wall Street and traders, they don't know what to do because they're trying to wait. Everyone on Wall Street, I feel like, is just guessing. No one really knows. Everyone is so reactive. No one is... No one, it just seems like everyone's reactive. Let's just put it that way, okay? They're not proactive. If you're proactive, you would be in Bitcoin already, right? But it seems like everyone on Wall Street is just reactive and just always reacting to new news, and they're not really having like a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. Because if you have a 5 or 10-year plan, you know what? It would just involve Bitcoin, kind of like what MicroStrategy, their plan is, okay? And luckily, we're starting to see more and more companies come up with that plan, right? They're coming to the same conclusion. We need more Bitcoin, right? Case in point today, I saw this. NASDAQ is listing Alliance Resource, which is a 2.8 billion coal mining company, and they have 425 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Right? Out of the blue. A lot of companies are starting to realize, hey, Bitcoin is a real thing. We need to put it in our treasury, right? I just covered this a few days ago. You have a meat and seafood company, Beck and Bolo. They're going to accept Bitcoin. They're going to convert 20% of their assets into Bitcoin, right? So luckily, we do have a lot of people that truly understand, not just Wall Street traders. We're talking about some big publicly traded companies. They understand. They're looking at Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, who continues to buy more and more Bitcoin with every single cent they have. They're looking at this and they're like, he's onto something. He's right. Bitcoin is the greatest store of value. MicroStrategy stock has gone up 900% since they adopted their Bitcoin strategy. No one else could pretty much say that. Okay, so luckily we do have people in charge and companies and countries and long-term holders that understand the concept, okay, to be proactive, to plan, to hold long-term, and not always focus on short-term, okay? Even though I know that's hard, right? It's hard. I know. You wake up, you look at your portfolio, it's down. No one likes that. No one likes to see their portfolio go down. I understand that, but don't let it discourage you, okay? Keep on going. Focus on the future. Focus on the gains that will be coming to you, okay? And I've said this before. I've said this at 10,000. I said this at 30,000, and no one wanted to listen to it, right? I'm saying it again at 60,000, Okay, even though I shouldn't need to say it at 60,000, but I'm gonna say it again because by the end of this year, we will be much higher. By the end of this year, we could be at 100,000, 125,000, and then most of you guys would have forgotten this very small and stagnant period around 60,000, right? That's what I truly believe. And I don't want to see you guys get FUD in your head and exit the market because of it. All right, outside of this, what else is going on? Well, let's talk about this. So I think most of you guys have forgotten, because even me, okay, since 2023, since like the end of 2023 till now, we had one of the greatest runs in Bitcoin history. In fact, I'm just going to eyeball it here. I think we just had the greatest 7 months in Bitcoin history. If you go all the way back to 2013, we never had 7 months of green. Even in 2020, we only had 6 months. And if you look, basically, yeah, prior to what we just had, we never had 7 months of green. Okay, so look at September, October, November, December, and then January, February, and March. And finally in April, we're having a red month. So even if you didn't believe in any of the things I just said about Bitcoin being the future and being adopted and why we all need to hold for future gains, I mean, if you discount all that, you just look at this. Well, it makes sense that Bitcoin would take a breather, right? Even if you discounted the Fed and the decision and everything, there's no way anything goes up forever infinitely without taking a breather. And we just had the greatest run Bitcoin has ever seen in its lifetime. We never had, again, I'm trying to be careful here. I'm trying to look, but I don't see, outside of what the run we just had, we never had 7 consecutive green months, ever. So for us to make an 8th month, that's just being greedy. That's just being unreasonable. There's no way you can expect Bitcoin to go 8, 9, 10, 12, 24 months of green. There needs to be a pullback and consolidation at some point. And we're having that in April, and that's okay, because look at how far we have come. From September till now, Bitcoin have more than doubled its value. We were talking about 25,000 back in September, and we are sitting above 60,000 now, right? So, again, don't be discouraged. Bitcoin cannot go up linearly forever to the moon. There will be pullback times, right? So that's something else to focus on. We just can't keep going. We need breathers. And if you think about it, it's good, because a lot of you guys do want to take, well, a lot of you guys want to buy. You guys always ask me, when is a good buying opportunity, right? Well, you buy when things are low. You buy when other people are panicking. You buy when there's blood in the streets, as they say, right? Even if the blood is your own. So it's a good buying opportunity. That's all you can say about that, right? And now a lot of people have also mentioned that, you know, May is a phenomenon where, at least in the stock world, it's like sell in May. And you could see the last 3 years, 2021, 2022, and 2023 have been red, right? So we'll see if that continues. But the thing is, this year, right? Because we're having, first of all, if you look at it, if you look at like the year that we're in right now, we're in the halving year. So if you go back to 2020, the last halving year, hey, it was green. It was green in May, right? And then you go back to the prior halving year, which is 2014. Guess what? It was also green in May. So again, if you're looking at patterns, the past 2 years that we had a halving event, it was green in May. So again, maybe taking a breather in April is a really good thing, because then it sets us up for the remainder of this year to be very, very, very green. Because again, you can't have Bitcoin go green every single month. You do need some time where it comes down, right? No, it's too early for Blue Label right now. It's too early. All right. So with that out of the way, what else is going on? Okay, this. And this is not a representation of Bitcoin's price, even though some of you guys may think so. This is looking at the balance on the exchanges, which continues to go down and down and down and down. Okay, why is this relevant? Because when it comes to price, it's all about supply and demand. Demand is still up here. Supply is doing this, okay? So when you have a scenario like that, it's just a matter of time before price catches up and starts going upwards. Anything that's valuable on this planet, there is a set supply, or there's more demand for the supply. That's really it. If you discount everything else, it just comes down to supply and demand. And demand is only going to increase for Bitcoin, and supply is only going to decrease. Inflation rate was already cut in half just a week ago with the halving event. And we have a set supply for Bitcoin, and what's out there existing on the exchanges keeps on dropping, and it's dropping at a rapid rate right now. That is something to focus on. That is part of the growing fundamentals that I talk about often, okay? So, again, don't be discouraged. Here's something else. If you want to look at patterns, you're a fan of patterns, or fractal patterns, look at this pattern, okay? In 2016, we had 2 months of dumping before we went up on a parabolic run, and that was after the halving event, okay? If you look at 2020, we had 2 months of dumping before the halving event, and then we shot up to the moon. And that dumping, my friends, brought Bitcoin down to $3,800, $3,800. Before the halving. Think about it. We went as low as $3,800 before we shot up to $69,000. And I bet a lot of people left at that time. I was streaming around that time. It was scary. A lot of people didn't want to pay attention. But imagine if you sold at $3,800 only to see it go up to $69,000, right? So right now, we're having that red month. But look at where we are versus the prior halving cycles. We're way, 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 way higher. We're not at $4,000 Bitcoin. If we were right now, I would say the cycle is broken. But we're not. We're at $61,000. There's a big difference. Again, don't let a little red, a little volatility scare you away from massive life-changing wealth gains, okay? And here's another pattern if you look at. This is zoomed out, but every single time Bitcoin breaks its previous high, it dips down a little bit, and then it forms a new gigantic new high. It's going to be no different this time around. We broke through our high multiple times already. I think a lot of people forgot that we were above 70,000 for a pretty long time. And we broke and broke and broke. We broke the previous high like 3 or 4 times before. And that was only like a month ago. That wasn't 6 months ago. It's not like we've been trending downwards for like 6 months. No, it's only been a few weeks since then. We were just at 70,000 like 2 weeks ago. So again, don't let what's happening now short term discourage you away from the market. This is not the right time for that. It's certainly not the right time for that. All right. That's pretty much all I want to say. Outside, I guess, Bitcoin, just 2 other little news. One is I did talk about Kamino yesterday. they airdropped and their market cap is already at 400 million. It seems like every single DEX or every single DeFi project that airdrops on Solana is a massive hit. Look at what happened with Jupiter after airdrop. They actually started going up and now they're above $1 billion, right? Kamino is a perpetual DEX, and they could be doing very well going forward too. So hopefully some of you guys got that, and that's really it. That's really it. All right, guys, let's do some Q&A. All right, let me scroll up. Let me see if I missed anything. Emery says you're the man. Appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. MicroStrategy going to 0. You get a timeout for saying that, and I don't know if you're trolling or not, but let's see here. Some people should put money into antidepressants instead of crypto. The Survival Summit says. Well, first of all, that's not funny because there are a lot of people that are on antidepressants. But second of all, it's true. You know, I do what I can. A lot of you guys have been watching me for a while. Some people, you know, are new, obviously. And we gotta keep in mind that the new people, they're just not used to it. You know, for us veterans, us veterans, we've seen it a lot, right? For newcomers, they haven't. So the best thing is to kind of educate them, calm them down. That's what I do best. But, you know, sometimes you can't. Some people can't be helped. Skinny Cow is saying, we will see 3.8K. No, we will not. Let's see, Teddy, just a random super chat, appreciate it. Have you heard of Boomer on Base? I have. They have a good story. I'm actually talking to the team right now a little bit and trying to get educated on it. Max, best AI crypto to get into right now. My AI crypto plays have not changed. I'm still waiting for ASI, which is the new company behind Fetch, Singularity, and Ocean. They're going to combine. They're going to become a powerhouse. I think that's going to be the AI project to get into, but I don't know when they're going to do that. Outside of that one, I would say look into DPIN projects. Okay, ones that are focused on AI. And you could say Render is up there, but they're really big. But still, I think they're going to continue to do well. And so someone smaller like Flux, who's also in that space. I'll say this. This is a hell of a buying opportunity right now. We could go lower. There's no doubt we could go lower. I would say the worst case scenario is, I said this in my Sunday walk video. I said worst case scenario, there's one of two things that's going to happen. Either we go sideways, right? Or we could drop lower to like 52, 53K mark, right? That could happen. I'm not saying it will, but if you're charting Bitcoin, that could happen in a worst case scenario. And if that happens, that'll be an absolutely fantastic buying opportunity. But even now, even where we are right now, around 60,000, 61,000, I'd say it's still a good dip, good DCA opportunity. Ricardo, you're welcome. If you have $1,000, how would you spend it? That's an interesting question. The Camera Wall Street says George's Patreon is so worth it. I appreciate that. My Patreon, I think, is worth it. There's a good group of people in there, and we have great newsletters. We have great conversations. So I need to get back in it more because ever since my 2-week trip, been out of it. But yeah, it's good. Thank you. Roshan asks, if you have $1,000 to spend, how do you spend it? I would still follow my 50, 25, 25 rule, meaning I put 50% of that into Bitcoin. I take 25% of that and put it into big caps, okay? And in my opinion, I would put it into just, say, something like Solana and Avalanche. And then the remaining, I put into some AI, DPIN plays, something like that. There's a few that comes to mind, and maybe some other L2s in there too. That's how I would do it. Why is this not refreshing? Pat Jr. is asking, so let me know if I'm wrong. The Fed is either going to cut rates later or much later, but at some point, either elections or economy will force their hands. Yes. You can't have a bad economy during elections. That would be very, very bad for the incumbent president, right? So, mostly, in general, election years are great. So that's the whole point of the rate cuts and timing it for this year. I don't think Powell really wanted to cut 3 this year. Even me, I think that's too aggressive. Just like 2 cuts would be good, and then you wait and see next year. But I don't know. We'll see. Now that inflation is going up, that's really bad. So hopefully Powell is probably going to say, we hope inflation is transitory because it ticked up majorly, and maybe it ticked up because of oil, because of Middle East conflict, whatever. But, the GDP going down is setting the perfect scenario for rate cuts to revive the economy again, right? To let money start flowing so that markets will do well. But that uptick in PCE data really screwed up things. If it didn't go up so much, then he could ignore it. But the fact that it went from 1.8 to 3.4%, that's a huge jump. That's almost 100% jump. So that's what he's worried about. And you can't cut rates because it's going to cause inflation to go higher. So unless he could justify saying well, it's a temporary thing for inflation because of the Middle East conflict, then maybe he could justify it. But I mean, that's how I interpret things. Why not make the economy good even when it's not an election year? Well, because you can't keep printing money. If you keep printing money or you let people borrow money at a lower interest rate, that's going to cause inflation to go higher. And that is something that Powell does not want to have happen, right? He's been working very hard to curb inflation, to basically reverse what the government did. So, yeah, you can't just let money flow all the time. That's why there's always phases. Monetary easing and then monetary tightening and then easing and tightening. It's always like that. It never truly just stays one way. Steve Hobbs says BTC is the best hedge against money printing and inflation. Much better than gold. That's right. That's 100% right. Is altcoin season still on the horizon? Yes. Yes, altcoin season will happen. Traditionally, they happen in a tail end of a cycle. You know, so that would be sometime in 2025, right? Either depends on if the cycle ends mid 2025 or end of 2025. You know, 6 months leading up to it, and then the final month, that's when things get really crazy for alts. Bob. That's funny. Walmart launches new grocery brand. Interesting. I heard Walmart is the largest grocery store in the US already. Or largest produce purchaser. Something like that. How you think Illuvium will do after this cycle, Jay Scott? Well, I'm hoping they finish their game. I mean, it's been promised for years now. I'm really hoping they finish a game, stop working on, well, they can't stop working on mini games and side stuff. They have to keep people, you know, entertained in the meantime. But, you know, if they can finish their game, it'll be great. It'll be really, really great. You know, they're still holding around 341 million. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All-time high, yeah, still very off from the all-time high. Very, very, very off. Man, they were like 1,700. Ooh, they're still 17x from there. They were very, very hyped up in 2021. Very hyped up. Can they get back up there? I'm hoping if they finish their game, yes. If they don't, they may not get back up there. Steve Hanley says, I'm sure I saw you in Banshee the other night. I have no idea where that is or what kind of place that is, but it wasn't me. Do you think base ecosystem going to pop off in a year? Base is already popping off. Okay, first of all, base has no token, so you can't judge them by price, but you can judge them by TVL. And base is at number 7, 1.422 billion in TVL, right behind Blast. I don't hear anyone talk about Blast, so I don't know how Blast could be so high. But you can see right there, base is at number 7. They're probably going to surpass them and go to number 6. And they're right behind Arbitrum. Now, if base keeps on embracing memes and they continue to do well, base will surpass Arbitrum and be neck and neck with Solana. That would be crazy. That would be absolutely crazy. But you know what? It's Coinbase, right? They got a lot of money. They got a lot of power. And I know that they are really embracing memes, just like Solana. They don't officially say it, but they do. They like them because it brings a ton of volume and people and money. Why do you think DFK's market cap so low for a Game 5 project, so developed with so many features on the horizon? Because they went through a lot of shit, let's just say that. Pardon my language, but man, I and so many people gave up on DFK due to all the stuff that happened before. That's why. Now I know that they have changed. They got new leadership. They're going in a new direction, which is all great. But a lot of people, just gave up on the project. That's why. I'm gonna add these back in. Well, BNB. Man, BNB is strong as heck. Still up 38% for last 60 days. 83 billion. Man, Solana is still far off from BNB. I mean, they did flip them temporarily, but couldn't hold. Hi George. Since base is ERC20 and ETH is on fire and SEC and Gary Gensler labeled it as security, will it affect all ERC20 tokens once the case starts? Yes, but there's no case. Consensus sued the SEC, not the other way around. SEC is not suing Consensus, not suing ETH Foundation. Consensus is suing them. So there's no official case that ETH is a security. What do you think about RFK Jr. getting independent party of California endorsement? I don't know. I really don't. I don't know any of his political stances other than he's pro Bitcoin. Anything else that he supports, I have no idea. I don't follow that. I did see a video of him doing bench presses, which is actually quite impressive for someone his age. But he works out. So that's good. That's all I know about him. Robert, what do you think about BCH and XRP? You don't want to ask me about either one. That was actually quite impressive, his bench pressing. I don't even know how old he is, but he looks like he's in pretty good shape. I have no idea what krill is. Sage says, I'm almost done with all this. It's getting ridiculous. Well, all the ridiculousness, I don't even know if that's a word, is mostly from the Fed and the US government and governments around the world in relation to fiat currencies. Okay, so if you are sick of all the shenanigans, okay, and you do not trust governments, well, then you should go into Bitcoin. That's honestly the case. And don't let little FUD scare you, okay? I just showed this. We had, what is it? 7 straight green months. 7 straight green months. The longest streak we ever had in Bitcoin's history. So having a red month does not make things worse, does not stop the trend. It is absolutely normal. We never, ever, ever, ever in Bitcoin's history had 7 straight green months. And we just did. So think about that. Nothing goes up forever, infinitely. Okay? You don't want to let something like this discourage you away from the greatest store of value that we have. I mean, honestly, just looking at this, you look at all the greatest years that we've ever had. You know, you could argue 2020, end of 2020 to beginning of 2021, right? We had 6 straight months and then 3 red months, and we continue forward. You look at 2016 to 2017. 2016, we had 4 straight months at the end. 2017, we had a couple red, and then we had another 5-month streak. And then at the end, we had 3-month streak that were all fantastic. But none of them kept going green forever. There were months where Bitcoin dipped. It's that simple. Bitcoin needs to dip sometimes. It can't go up infinitely forever and ever and ever and ever. Satan says, I don't understand the problem. Bought Bitcoin at 18K, Solana at $10. Why distress? Well, why distress is a lot of people didn't buy at those levels. So that's why. But I get it. But, you know, I'm trying to discourage people away from being discouraged. I know it sucks. Day to day, week to week. I get it. It sucks to see your portfolio go down. I know more than most, okay? But I also know we will recover. I have 0 doubt in my mind we will recover from this. I have 0 doubt in my mind we will end the year way higher than where we are now. So you just have to tough it out, have to have some patience, continue your holding and DCing, and just wait for the gains to come to you. That's really it. All right, guys. I'm going to conclude on that. Don't be discouraged. Stay strong, stay focused, and focus on the future. All right? So, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys tonight. Same time as always, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.